Hey, it's Shannon. Welcome back to my corner. Today we're going to do another cooking chat where I talk about a random subject while I cook dinner. Tonight's dinner is pan-fried chicken, mashed potatoes, and frozen broccoli because I'm not going to steam fresh broccoli right now. Yeah. So the subject that I wanted to talk about today is I wanted to walk you through the process that I went through to create a publishing business. And it's going to be different depending on the state or county that you live in, country, make sure you look at your local laws before you do anything. But I can just show you how my process went as a resident of Illinois. So the first thing that I did, and I would suggest anyone take this step first, is really kind of decide what kind of business do you want. I went with an LLC because it's the best to protect you against liabilities. It's the best tax structure. But depending on what you plan on doing with your business, that's going to depend on what kind of structure you go for. Another reason why I picked an LLC is because I publish other people's books as well, and I have the potential for one day having real employees. Right now, I only have people that I contract with, but if I sell enough books, I can hire people. And so I wanted to make sure that my business model could support that kind of growth. If you don't want to publish other people's books, you just want to do your own, you can actually do a sole proprietorship. That's usually the best tax structure for just a single author self-publishing their own work. It just kind of depends on what your plan is and what you want to do with your future. So after you know what kind of business model you want to have, and if you want to do your own books or other people's books as well, then you kind of got to get your other stuff prepped. So, like, what's your logo design going to look like? Are you going to have a color theme? What kind of website do you want to have? Like, how do you want it to look? So I picked a color scheme for Chaos and Ink. I designed a logo. I figured out what our focus was going to be on, which is primarily fantasy fiction, but we also are going to expand into more speculative fiction as we grow. Coming up with a mission statement and what methods of publication you want to use. Are you going to do big print runs? Are you going to do print on demand? Are you going to do ebook only? That kind of stuff. And of course, your business plan. How many books a year do you want to do? How do you want to get most of your revenue? Do you want to sell direct through your website, or do you want to use an aggregator like Ingram Spark or a platform like Amazon? And do you want to branch out and do just books, or do you want to also do bookish things? Because like Chaos and Ink, I don't only sell books, I also sell book-related accessories and trinkets that I either work with other designers with, or I make them by hand myself, like bookmarks, swag stuff that kind of ties into the books. I make travel altars because like I primarily write about magic and witchcraft. So I make like little witch tins that go with it. I have a divination kit that has like tarot card, a Ouija board, and a crystal ball, and then like a little jump drive that has like a bunch of how-tos and stuff on that. And then I make a travel altar that has everything you need to set up an altar wherever you are so that you can, meditate or whatever, whatever kind of spirituality you believe in. It is, it's all in a little like Altoids tin. And I sell those because they tie in with my fictional worlds in my books. I worked for a grocery store for 15 years, and about 10 of that was in the deli. And I learned in the deli that the secret ingredient to fried chicken is powdered milk. Yes, you can make a wet batter that has liquid milk in it. That's perfectly fine. I prefer a dry batter. It sticks to the chicken better. And I don't know, for me, I just prefer the texture better. So powdered milk, and it really adds I don't know. I don't want to say creamy because that sounds weird with fried chicken, but it really just adds an extra dimension that makes it so good. Um, I'm celiac, so I have to use all gluten free stuff. I have gluten free flour from Red Mill. It's all purpose. I sometimes also use Cup for Cup because it has the xanthan gum mixed in. But for this case, just regular all purpose baking flour is fine. And then I also use cornmeal just for that little extra texture. And then I put whatever kind of seasoning I want in it that day. It kind of varies on what I'm feeling. Sometimes I put Italian, sometimes I do something spicy. Today I'm just doing garlic. I'm keeping it real simple. Salt and garlic. All right, so you have your logo, your mission statement, your business plan, what method you want to use, what kind of books you want to focus on, and you know what kind of business structure you want. Now it's time to get your licenses. For me, it was really simple to apply. I actually applied through my state, Secretary of State, Commerce, whatever, website for a business license. And it walks you through all the forms you need to fill out, what kind of information they are looking for. There's like, if you ever get confused, like it's simple, so simple, because every question has like a little help button next to it that you can click and it'll open up like a PDF that walks you step by step what they want, how they want you to fill it out, and why they ask for it. So it didn't take me that long, maybe an hour to fill out all of the forms that they want. You also have to go to a federal site and fill out some kind of like, I'm not going to be a mobster form where basically you swear that you're going to account for the money, that it's not going to be used to launder anything, that the money you make is not going to be used to front any illegal activities. And I can't remember what it's called. I'll look it up and I'll link it down below what it is called, but it's just some kind of affidavit thing that you fill out. If you don't fill that out, they will fine you like $150. So just fill it out. It whatever. Don't do crime. You're good. Um, and then my license, the business license, was 150 for the license itself. And then there was like a $25 or $50 filing fee. And then every year it's another $75 to renew it. And if you have to change anything on there, like who is the representative of your business or what address should your mail go to, that's another $25 filing fee to change any of that information. And then after I filled that out, it went through, I think it only took 2 days to get my approval through, and you just get your business license online, and you can print it up as many copies as you want. You can get a physical copy mailed to you, but that takes like 3-4 weeks. It's much easier to just get the digital copy. When you have that, once your business license is approved, it'll give you a business tax number. And with that, you can go to a bank and open up a business bank account. Now, most banks also want a business plan laid out and a couple of other forms. Just go to your bank's website and on their menu for like business accounts, it'll tell you what their requirements are. Some states require a business plan, some don't. It really varies. So just find out from your bank what they require from you to open a business account. And again, you just fill out the paperwork. It's not that hard, honestly. It might take a few minutes of your time. You might be frustrated because it's kind of like filling out your taxes at the end of the year, but it's real easy to do it. And if you just feel like you're afraid of making a mistake and you don't want to fill it out yourself, just get an accountant to do it for you. But I am really cheap. I'm not going to pay anybody to do something that I can do myself. So I filed everything myself. I filled out all the paperwork myself. I found all the forms and all of that. My bank did require a business plan. There are templates online that show you, that walk you through like what information, how to fill out a business plan. So again, super simple. You will also have to have starting money to open a bank account. My bank was only $100, I think, but some banks require a little bit more if it's in a business account. So again, check with your bank. I was able to deposit more than $100 because my friends and family had donated money to me as startup for my birthday, and so I was able to put in like $800 to start. That was my business starting money, was $800. Um, and there was some other money that I had spent on other items, but that's what I was able to put directly into my bank as soon as I opened it, to get everything going. So after I got my business license, you also have to get, well, you don't have to get, but I wanted to get like a website. I do Wix. I pay for it. It's $250 a year for a business website that I can sell direct from it if I want. It does newsletters, a blog, and then of course all of my book information, author information for myself and my other authors, the editing services that we provide on the side, all that kind of stuff I'm able to put on there. So that's $250 a year. License, $75 a year after the initial startup. My bank doesn't cost me anything as long as I keep over $100 in there at all times, and it is used. You have to have so many transactions a year in order for it to not cost you fees, or maybe it's once a month. I don't know, but I've never had a problem. Like, I've never been charged for that account because there's something coming in or out of that account at least once a month. And I think that's what it is. Like, you have to use it at least once a month. But software that I invested in as part of the business is Atticus for formatting. It's wonderful tool, so easy. I really have enjoyed using it. Some people say that it's too difficult to mess with, and there were times where it was glitchy. I will give them that. Like there was an update that they did that messed up a whole bunch of stuff, like you couldn't copy paste, and it was slow and all that. But they have since patched that again, and you can copy paste again. And the transferring from a document into Atticus is less buggy now. It used to mess up the formatting. Like if you formatted in Word and then you uploaded it, it would screw the formatting all up, and there would be like weird spaces. And they fixed that, so it doesn't do that anymore, which is great. It saves me time. And then I love how you can just add pictures in so easily. It's great. And then the other software that I use is Canva. I pay for that as well. I think it's $240 a year, something like that. But it's worth it for me because all of my promotional material is on there. A lot of my videos I use Canva for. Flyers, business cards, art cards, like all of that. And then I also have designed some of my covers on there. And no, there is not a licensing issue with that if you are following the rules. You can't take like a photograph and make a cover out of it and then just upload it to Amazon and be like, there you are. You have to take the different elements on Canva and alter them so that they don't look like the original. Or like what myself and a lot of other people do is you buy that artwork separately, and then you just use Canva to compile the images, layer them, put special effects and all that kind of stuff. And that's not a licensing problem at all. Now I want to back up just a minute and kind of go over some of those things. So I have the license and website and a bank and the software and all of that because I'm running it as a full small publishing house. If you are a self-publisher and it's just going to be you don't have to pay for a website. Wix has a free version that is good enough to just have a place for all your book links and your bio and stuff to be. There's WordPress. There's a couple of other platforms that you can have a free website, and that would not cost you anything. You don't need a business bank account if you are not a full bank. If you are sole proprietor, you don't need a separate bank account. Atticus, you don't have to have Atticus. You can format with any word processor, and it's good enough if you know how to do it. You can also format in Google Docs, which if you have a Gmail account is free up to a certain amount of storage space. And if you're an Apple user, you can use Vellum. There's InDesign if you want to pay the monthly fee for that. So there are options. You don't have to take the options that I did. There's plenty out there of various costs, from free all the way up to I would not pay that. But it's just, Your mileage may vary, your experience and knowledge may vary, and what software you use will be dependent on what your end goal is. Another business expense that I chose to do, but as a self-publisher you would not have to do, is I purchased a bundle of 100 ISBNs. It was $575 for 100 ISBNs. And you need a different ISBN for every format that will be printed. So hardback and paperback, special editions, omnibuses, they all need different ISBNs, even if it has the same content in it. Ebooks, you can use an ISBN for ebooks. It's not legally required for digital products. So like most of my ebooks do have an ISBN, but some of my, like my Loss Leader does not, because it's just a short story that I hand out like low cost or free. And like right now it's on Kindle Unlimited. That's going to cycle off of Kindle Unlimited, and then I'm going to give it out for free at my booth to, as kind of like, here's a sample of my work, come buy these other books. And so I'm not putting an ISBN on that. Another expense, because I contract with other authors and other service providers, editors, cover designers, artists, all that kind of stuff, I also have business insurance that I pay for every quarter. Every quarter. It's $32 a quarter. That's really cheap for business insurance. And that will cover me up to $500,000 in damages if someone was to be injured in front of my booth at a sale, or if an author was to sue me for any kind of infringement that would, and I lost, then the insurance would cover that. And I got it for my peace of mind. I don't expect anything like that to happen. With vendor events, a lot of times each event will offer you single day insurance to guard you against injuries or accidents while you are at the vendor event. And I don't have to do but they charge an exorbitant amount, like $80 a day. It's ridiculous. And whereas I can just do my business insurance for $32 a quarter and be covered, and I just have to show whoever's running the event, I just show them my insurance paper and I don't have to pay. POS systems, point of sale systems, I use Square Up. It is free to have an account on their website, and I can also, and I have the app on my phone, and then I also have like one of those little mini Square terminals that you can carry around and stick the card in, and it also does tap to pay, so that's very convenient. And I can take pretty much any kind of payment except for PayPal through Square, because they're technically competitors, so you can't do any PayPal stuff, but you can do everything else. So I can't do Venmo with Square because that's a PayPal affiliate. But I have a PayPal account too, so if worse comes to worse and that's all a reader has, that's the only way they can purchase something from my booth is with Venmo, or, well, I have a Venmo account, so that's fine. But if all they can do is PayPal, then I can send them an invoice through email right there at the booth, and then they can pay for it right away, and I can give them whatever it was that they wanted to buy. But yeah, use Square. So yes, they charge a 3% transaction fee on, your totals. So there is a cost built into that, but at least it doesn't cost me anything to keep that website going. And I can actually, I embed that into my website so that I can sell my books direct. They don't handle shipping. Places like PayHip or Spotify will handle shipping, and you can use those on your phone to sell at vendor events as well. So look at your options and see which one works best for you. Hey, my microphone that was on my shirt died the last 12 minutes of that video. So I'm going to be redoing some of that. Dinner has already been completed, eaten, and put away. So don't get to show you the final product or anything, but it was delicious. All right. So I went through all the business stuff that I did as far as what I purchased as part of business expenses to get the business up and running, and then also provided you some suggestions on things that you can do for free that provide the same things. So now I wanted to go through the vendor events that I attended and how much money I made last year on the products that I had. So I did 6 events in 2024. 4 of those were by invite only for like pop-ups and impromptu literary fests that had not been promoted or planned, and like the organizers were like, hey, we want to do this thing this weekend, can you come? And so I didn't have a table fee for those, but I also didn't get a lot of foot traffic. So first there was a pop-up at a local cafe. They didn't really promote it that well. I was inside the building with 4 of us total, 3 other authors sharing a table, but then all the other vendors were outside on the street. So we only had like, I think 10 people came into the store to see us, and that was it. Everyone else stayed outside. So I only sold like, I think 3 or 4 books at that event, but I didn't have to pay for it. So that was great. Then I did the Big River Steampunk Festival in Hannibal. That was part of the Hannibal Writers Guild that I was a member of at the time. I was at that table we represented all of the local authors' work at that table of the guilds. So I think there were 20 total books that we were representing, and I was only one of those 20, and I still sold 6 copies. So with all that selection to choose from, that wasn't that bad. I was very pleased with that, even though it seemed small. Things are starting, though. Things are ramping up. In September, I went to the Fey Propaganda Art Fair. Again, that was by invite, and so I did not have to pay a table fee. I was in a tent with 6 other authors. We were all together in the literary tent. It was a great time. We saw so many wonderful costumes, and it was we all sold really decent numbers. I think I sold 24 or 26 books altogether. I can't remember the exact amount, but it was over 20. And so, yeah, a decent amount of money. I made a little over $300 that day. Was a great experience. And then let's see, what did I do? Oh, and then there was the impromptu literary fest by a local college. Again, they just decided one weekend to try to hold a book event. I think they did it in honor of banned books. So they had tried to invite authors in the local area, but they didn't know very many. So I think I was one of 3 local authors that were invited to attend. And because it wasn't advertised, and because there was only 3 of us, again, only a handful of people showed up to take a look at the books. And I only sold 2 copies. So, not great. But it was a fun time, and I didn't have to pay for it. And I will take that. I will take every event I go to as a learning experience, even if I don't sell anything. Then came the Christmas event. I had to pay for that one. It was a $200 table fee, but I shared my table with a friend of mine who was doing candles and crochet. And so I only had to pay $100, and her candles attracted the crowd, and then they would be, oh, look, there's some books. So I made a pretty decent amount. I don't know how many copies I sold, but I do know that I walked out of there with $250, which is more than double my table fee. So I was happy. And then there was a impromptu book fair. A local bar had decided to run an adult book fair with like drinks and everything, so everybody could have a good old fun time. And I was invited along with several other authors to attend. So again, no one had to pay a table fee. There were 12 tables altogether. 8 of us were authors. The other ones were like libraries and local bookstores. And we all sold out. Like every single one of us sold everything on that table. I walked out of there with $1,000. That was an amazing event. It was, how long were we there? 4 total hours, I think, and I made $1,000. So yeah, I sold out of all the stock I had brought that day. It was a good time. And so for the whole overall 6 events, I sold 121 books, I think. I could be off on those numbers, but I do know that it was $1,000 at the book fair, and then through the rest of the events, it was about $600 total. So $1,600 I made throughout all those vendor events. And how much I paid for book stock, business cards, swag, and table fees was $600. So I more than made back my investment. So I was very pleased with that. Now I haven't made back what I invested into the business in total, but I did make back what I invested into those vendor events. So I was very pleased. This year, I am set up for 7 events already. They begin August 23rd, will be the first one. I think this video will come out way after that, but I am going to vlog about all the events I go through, so you'll be able to see a little bit of how that works. So yeah, I have 7 events, and they're pretty much the same ones that I did last year with a couple of new ones. I'm going to do well, there's a book fair on the square, August 23rd. That's a new event that I haven't been to before. It has been heavily promoted, so I'm really hopeful that there's going to be a good turnout. Then I'm going to go to Steampunk Fest again, the Fay Arts Fair again, and then I arranged a book signing at a local cafe for myself and 8 other authors, and we're trying to work on some promotion for that. It's probably like we're doing our best. There's quite a few people that know about it, but certainly not the crowds that you would get at like a whole festival. So we'll see how that turns out. And then I will be present at a art fair in October. It's called Hollow Thankmas. So just kind of roll all of those holidays in together. And then there's a grand market, which is kind of like a farmer's market for my city, but in the winter months, and it's still outside, but it shouldn't be too cold, so I'll be all right. What else am I going to? I know I'm missing one. I can't remember. All 7 of them should be on my website. But I'm really excited to have all of those coming up, and I think I'm going to sell even better than I did last year because I have more books. So in 2024, at those 6 events, I only had Grimvale Tales and some leftover stock from anthologies that only I personally had been involved in. None of the other authors that work with me were in it. It was through other small presses. And now this year, I have 2 anthologies that I was involved in last year that I have purchased some stock in, so I can promote myself as an author, Grimvale Tales. But then the Chaos and Ink's first multi-author publication, the Flippin' Fairies anthology, which released August 1st, is also going to be at all of those booths, as well as my Lost Leader, Legends of Ardmire Castle. Most of those will be given away for free, but if you just want that and no other books, just a little short story, it's going to be like $2. With that author signing event that I arranged, it was super easy. So small businesses love supporting other artists and authors. It is a very mutually beneficial arrangement because if you can get an event done at one of their locations, not only are you going to have people coming in to look at your books, but that business is going to have more patrons coming in to buy a drink or a cupcake or whatever it is that they sell. So a lot of them are very willing to work with you. And that's what happened. There was a little coffee shop that my local writers group does monthly events at. So I already had an existing relationship with the owners. They knew what I wrote. They knew, I had performed there several times for live readings. So they were familiar with me. And I had just asked them, hey, would you be willing to host a author signing event? And they said yes. So I reached out to the authors that I had met through various events. And there's going to be 9 of us all together. And we're looking forward to a great turnout, and if nothing else, getting to hang out with each other and chat about books and writing and fun stuff. So if you are a author that has a small coffee shop, diner, cafe, what have you, a small business that is known for supporting the arts, just go in and ask them if they would mind having you there for a book launch party or a book signing or something like that. And a lot of times they will say yes. And the one that we're doing in September, they didn't even ask for a rental fee. They're just happy to support the arts. So yeah, just ask, and you might be surprised at how much support that you actually do get. In addition to books, I also sell some bookish things on top of that. So I sell like a little bit of swag. Well, I don't sell the swag that goes for free, like the bookmarks and things like that. But I usually make keychains for every book release. I make occult and fantasy themed jewelry that I sell to tie in with my books. My books are primarily about magic and witchcraft. So that's what I have. I have like planchette earrings, skull earrings, things that just, you know, look very fantasy esque. And I also sell witch tins to tie in with my books. I have a mini altar that has everything you need to set an altar up on the go. It fits in an Altoid tin, and a divination kit, again in an Altoid tin, and it has like a tarot deck, a crystal ball, a Ouija board, and a jump drive that has like instructions and things like that on it. I think those little extras account for like 30% of my sales. If I'm honest, they're actually a pretty good draw. And the fact that they are relevant to the books is also a bonus. It's kind of like an extra treat. Like, hey, have this fun trinket to go with your books. And it works really well. So, yeah, I am looking forward to this vendor season. I will be, like I said earlier, I'm going to be vlogging at several of the events, and I will be able to give you a sales number in probably January or February on how I did for this coming vendor season. All right. So I just wanted to refilm a little bit of what had gotten cut out from the previous recording. I hope that this was helpful to some of you that are looking into either starting your own small press or starting the journey of self-publishing and had questions about the business side of things. And I really hope that you come back and watch again as we continue to grow and enjoy this journey with me. All right. Thank you. Bye.